The main issue that Paul had with speaking in tongues in the church during that early period when that gift was still in operation was that the Corinthians had failed to appreciate the limited benefit that it had, and we'll explore that really in the next video, God willing. That's why Paul turned their attention to those gifts that had a greater benefit. Greater is he that prophesieth than he that speaketh with tongues, he writes in verse 5. Paul is interested in what builds them up rather than what could easily puff them up. And we see that again in today's reading from 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verses 12 to 19. Even so ye, forasmuch as ye are zealous of spiritual gifts, seek that ye may excel to the edifying of the church. Wherefore let him that speaketh in an unknown tongue pray that he may interpret. For if I pray in an unknown tongue, my spirit prayeth, but my understanding is unfruitful. What is it then? I will pray with the Spirit, and I will pray with the understanding also. I will sing with the Spirit, and I will sing with the understanding also. Else, when thou shalt bless with the Spirit, how shall he that occupieth the room of the unlearned say Amen at thy giving of thanks, seeing he understandeth not what thou sayest? For thou verily givest thanks well, but the other is not edified. I thank my God, I speak with tongues more than ye all. Yet in the church I had rather speak 5 words with my understanding, that by my voice I might teach others also, than 10,000 words in an unknown tongue. It wouldn't be the first time that I'd listened to someone speaking at length in a meeting, or perhaps even on a telephone call, when I came away thinking, what was that all about? I recognized all the words that were said, but not in the particular order that they were spoken in. We've already thought about the idea of intelligibility, the need to speak in a way that is intelligible to the hearer. Paul now presses the point as he writes about the importance of understanding. We should speak in a way that by my voice I might teach others, verse 19. Are people learning anything when I speak to them? Now, the Corinthians seem to want to excel at speaking in tongues, but Paul wanted that ye may excel to the edifying of the church, verse 12. For that reason, he began his regulation of the gift of speaking in tongues by the instruction, pray that he may interpret, in verse 13. Because without interpretation, my understanding is unfruitful, verse 14. Now later on, Paul will expressly prohibit the exercise of this gift in the assembly if there is no interpreter. If there be no interpreter, let him keep silence in the church, in verse 28. He is placing a limitation on the exercise of this gift. So when Paul writes, what is it then, in verse 15, it has the sense, as we might say nowadays, of, so what is it to be? What am I going to do as far as exercising my gift is concerned? It is far better to pray with the Spirit and the understanding, to sing with both spirit and intelligence. Remember, says Paul, that there are those at your meetings who are unfamiliar with spiritual things, and they will be unable to enter into the thanksgiving if they do not understand. How shall he that occupieth the room of the unlearned say Amen at thy giving of thanks? Verse 16. Paul then indicates how he himself limited his use of tongues in that day. He did speak with tongues more than ye all, verse 18, but it wasn't what he majored on in his ministry, and indeed there's no incident of him doing so recorded in the New Testament. Fewer but understandable words were his preference. 5 words with my understanding, verse 19. To him it was better to be useful to people than a brilliant orator, to be helpful than to be the center of attention. And I hope that that idea of edification, that people might understand, is my objective too.